Today we're going to talk a little bit about doing apartment inspections on the commercial side of things. And I probably should have done that first off before I did anything pertaining to hotels, motels, Holiday Inns. I just decided that today is the day I'll go ahead and knock that one out for you guys, just to go a little bit into dive a little bit into the world behind the scenes of actually doing inspections for apartment complexes. A lot of you are already familiar with that, so this won't be for you. This is for those of you who have never done inspections before and you are kind of wondering what all it entails. I can't possibly give you everything that it entails because of course that would take all day. That's another whole song and dance, but I can most definitely kind of like guide you through what actually occurs. So you already know when you're going to do any type of inspection at all, first thing you're going to do with all of them is get the basics, of course. So you'll learn the basics as you go. Hopefully you guys already know that, so we're going to skip past that. Okay, but let's suppose you go inside of an apartment complex. And well, I'm gonna put it this way. Some of your locations may have apartments where you have several buildings. So you'll have a building over here, over here, over here. You got all of these different buildings, right? And depending on the company that you actually have the contract for, they're probably going to require you to either check one apartment, check several apartments, check 10 apartments. It all depends. And when I say check, I mean actually go in and inspect a certain amount of apartments. Normally, the inspection amount of apartments that you'll need to inspect will actually determine based off of how big the actual overall complex is. Is it a huge community? And it'll also be determined based off of what company you're contracted with as to how many apartments you will have to inspect along with the actual carrier themselves. Because some carriers, it doesn't matter how big the building is, they may not want you to inspect but one apartment. All right. So now when you go into the actual apartment itself, like you walk up to a door and it says 110, right? And you go in. When you go in, what are we looking for when we get inside? Now that too can be determined based off of what insurance carrier you're going in there for. But I can give you a roundabout of all of them together so that you can get an idea of what's happening. So you go into an apartment, some of them want a picture of the flooring. They want to make sure the floor is good. It doesn't have no buckles, anything that can make someone fall. They want to know the ceiling. Take a picture of the ceiling. Is there a leakage? Is there a stain in the ceiling? They may want to see that. They may want to know what type of heating they have inside of the unit. Some of them don't require for you to take an image of the in-wall heating, but some of them do ask for a heating if there has a furnace or something like that inside of the building. For this video's sake, we're only going to talk about when you go actually inside of one apartment unit. And I'm going to give you all of the images that I've had to get according to all of the different insurance carriers. Oh, I knew I'd get it. According to all of the different insurance carriers, because some of them, like I said, ask for some things, some of them don't. Okay, so I walk in, the first thing I'll do is I'll get an image of the flooring. I'm gonna get an image of the ceiling. As I said before, looking to see if there's any stains on the ceiling, take a ceiling photo. Some of these apartment complexes have sprinkler systems running all throughout the building. If that's the case, then there will be sprinklers inside of the apartment. So you want to see if you see anything in the roof that gives you any idea that there is sprinklers. The person who is guiding you around the building, if you think that you see a sprinkler head, but you don't know for certain, because some of them stick out and you can see the little watery tip on the end, but then you have some that are actually compressed into the ceiling and they're up under a little disc. Sometimes it'll look like a sprinkler, and sometimes it may not even be a sprinkler at all. So you want to ask them, do the apartments come with full, complete coverage of sprinkler system? If they say yeah, then you know that's what you're looking at. Take a picture of the sprinkler if there is one in the roof. You also want to make sure you ask, do they have a sub panel on the inside of the apartment? Sub panel is just an electric panel. Just like on the outside, when the meter man comes and he checks the electric on the outside of the building, there's also most of the time one on the inside of the apartment. So that's what you call the sub panel from the large panel on the outside. See if they have one. A lot of times it's behind a door. I've seen them inside of closets, walk-in closets in the main bedrooms. Ask, do they have one? If they have one, then you need to go to it, open it up, and take a picture. The reason you're taking a picture for the sub panel as well is because most of the insurance companies, for sure, do not want to have stuff like Federal Pacific, stamp locks, and all of those different types of sub panels inside of these apartments, nor do they want to have them on the outside. So you want to make sure that you take a picture so that they can see that these are circuit breakers and it's not any of the older models that can probably switch off, switch on when they, when you plug too many things into your wall, then you have these things popping on and off. That causes a fire. That's a hazard, okay? So you want to make sure you get a picture of the sub panel. You also want to make sure that you get an image of any type of smoke detector that they may have inside of the unit. Most of the time, they only require you to take a picture of one. Sometimes they may have one in the living room and in the hall and in the main bedroom. Don't be running around snapping 15 pictures of smoke detectors. You only need a picture of one smoke detector, okay? And that's so they can make sure that they have one. Also, even though the newer model smoke detectors come with carbon monoxide alarms into that one unit, you also want to make sure that they don't have another one. So you ask them, or if you see one, the little extra carbon monoxide unit, you want to take an image of that unit so that they'll know that there's another alarm inside of the house as well. Now, most of the time, like I said, you're not going to have to do all of the images. It all depends on the company. One reason why I'm giving a breakdown on the pictures of that you may have to do inside of the actual unit is because some apartments, not apartments, some carriers or some companies that you're working for, because I don't even really know how all that works. I just know that sometimes you can get paperwork from certain companies and they will not tell you what image you need to take. They just assume that you know what you're doing. So in case any of you have run across that issue, even right now as of today, and you're concerned, you have an apartment coming up, and now you will know the basics of what to get inside of a unit. Okay, so most of the time I am asked what type of a gas appliance do they have. Do they have gas appliances in the building at all? Any type of fixtures, okay? So I normally go around where the kitchen area is to see if there's a gas stove. If there's a gas stove, instead of me just taking a full unit photo from the door, like an overall view, I just let them know that I'm going to take a shot in the kitchen so that the underwriter can see that there's a gas stove in the kitchen, okay? And that also covers the fact that I need to take an inside photo inside of the actual apartment itself. So now you know by your photos, if your photos are also going to tell you what type of amenities come in the apartment, because you can see by your photos that they have certain things in there, but you want to always ask the actual person who's there, your contact or the insured, whoever you met who's in there with you when you go into these units, you want to ask them, what type of amenities do they have? Okay, this is the main question I always ask. Does the stove and the fridge come with the apartment? Or when they rent the apartment, do the renter have to bring their own? If they say it comes with it and there's a microwave too and the microwave comes with it, then I write all of that down on my paperwork. And the reason why I put all of that down, I'm going to put the stove, the fridge, the microwave if there's one, the dishwasher if there's one. I'm going to put the in-wall heating if there's one, if there's an AC unit in the wall, if the insured covers it. Did you buy the AC unit? If they say yeah, then I'll write it down. I'll write down the in-wall heating. If it has central air, I'll write it down. Parking, laundry room, or washer dryer hookup, I will write them all down. The reason why I write these down is because when I get ready for my description, inside of the paperwork on the computer, I want to make sure that I always have what the amenities are that the insured provides to the renters who rent the apartment. Okay, because you have to do a description, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how many of you have done a description, let me slow down. I don't know how many of you have done a description in the past and they have sent it back to you, and they sent it back because you ain't said much of nothing, but that is building on the corner. Okay, so anyway, I make sure that I put all of that in the description. I always add the amenities. Okay, so If everything is up to par on the inside, and if your insurance carrier does not ask for any type of plumbing, most of the time they do not. But if they do ask for plumbing, then you know you need to get some images of the plumbing up under the sinks or in the bathrooms. Okay, so that's enough of the inside of the apartment. Let's go out of the apartment. Let's assume there's a hallway, and you're going down the hallway. You want to make sure that you can see any type of fire extinguisher or a fire hose for the fire department. Okay, all of those things. If you are working a building, it is small and this stuff is located on the outside, you want to make sure that you can actually see if it's connected to the wall on the outside. So you're going to need a picture of the fire extinguisher. You're going to need an up close image of the fire extinguisher, because you're going to need to have the fire marshal tag that's hanging out the fire extinguisher, because you're going to need to know the date, the last time that thing was inspected or actually replaced. All right, so now suppose there were sprinklers on the inside of the apartment. Now you're gonna have to go all the way around the building or the apartment. So you're gonna have to find the sprinkler riser. Ask them where it's located. You're gonna need all of those things, okay? I know this is long, so I'm finna cut this short, do the best I can with what I got for you. Because I ain't trying to make this video long. It's just really, really a lot of stuff that may entail actually inspecting an apartment, depending on how big that thing is and depending on what the carrier is asking for you to get for them. Along with, not to mention, all of the paperwork and the questions that you have to get answered. So it's always good to make sure you get as many photos as you can, along with the back and the front, the left and right. You want to make sure you get everything that they're required of you. You need to get it. Gas mains, you need to make sure you can see that. Water heaters, are they scrapped down? You know, all of these different things play a role inside of doing commercial. But like I said, for a lot of you now, if you're new and you want to get your feet wet doing houses, I suggest that you go ahead and do the houses first, because it's going to actually give you a roadmap as to the certain types of things to expect, to look for when you go to doing commercials. That way, when you start doing commercials, and if you happen to run across a company that does not give you a list of things that you need to take a picture of, and you just get this file and you're looking at all of these questions and you like, okay, you under the assumption you don't have to take pictures. You have to take pictures. They just assume that you know what you're doing, okay? So I suggest save the video, do whatever you need to do. Y'all know, sign up for mentorship. I got you covered from the front to the end, from the very beginning to the last portion of what you do, which includes your paperwork. For those of you who may feel like you're in need of mentorship, I do run a 4-tier program. The first tier is a 30-minute phone call between me and you to discuss any issues or any questions that you may have pertaining to the field inspection industry. The second level, which is a 1-hour phone call, which consists of the same thing as the first one. It's just simply for those who may need a little bit more time to make sure all of their questions are answered. And then, of course, we have tier number 3, which is a 2-week program. The 2-week program actually consists of a 1-hour call each week, along with accountability emails and, of course, text messages if you feel the need to do so. Tier number 4 is a 4-week mentorship. This 4-week mentorship consists of the first 2 weeks of 1-hour phone calls, along with the last 2 weeks, which consist of Zoom calls. That's right, you'll actually be on video with me so that we can actually chit chat and see exactly how far you've made it, the different things that you have accomplished, so that we can make sure that you're on that track to success. So go ahead, make that first step. Let's get you started. So now, with all of this being said, I hope that you guys can find some sort of solace in this outside of what I'm saying. I just need to cut this a little bit short. There's no way I could go into full detail on everything that you have to find on the apartment. I just hope that this can help out a little bit for those of you who are wondering what you'll possibly need to look for on the inside, okay? And I've told you guys how I use my measuring tape and how I bring all of these different things in case there are stairwells, the height of the railings, 42 inches, no less than 42 inches high, so people can't fall over or be shoved over, all of that different stuff. All of that will play a serious role in making sure that the apartment itself is safe for the children, for the adults, and for anyone who goes on those premises. Okay, so now with that being said, I hope you guys like the video. Turn on notifications